Okay, we're going to do a thing called Pascal's triangle. Let me just jot down what Pascal's triangle is. This is kind of like it's kind of like a helpful aid for you to do what we're going to do a little bit. Okay, this is going to aid you in doing some actually pretty complicated problems, but it's going to be a lot easier with this little I don't know what I would call it. Anyway,
Method.
what's that?
Method.
Method? Okay, that'd be good. That'll work. Yeah, for this method. What we're going to do, we're going to make this triangle. It's going to go like this, but it's going to be a triangle of numbers. So it starts off with a 1 up top here. And then it's going to branch off. And then on one side is a 1 and the other side is a 1. All right, now watch this. This 1's going to show up a lot. Then I'm going to do this. I'm going to put another 1 out here, but watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a middle number in here. And I'm going to take these two that are above it. I'm going to add those two together to figure out what goes in the middle. So 1 plus 1 is
2.
all right. See, I'm getting somewhere. And then on the other end, I'm going to put a 1. So the edges of these triangles are going to be 1s all the way down. All right. So the first and the last one is always going to be a 1. But in between are the sum of these numbers. So the next row, actually, let's call this row 0. So we'll call this row 0. This one is row 1. This one is row 2. There's a reason I started at 0 and I didn't start at 1. Alright? Now let's do this. Remember what's on the ends? On the ends is always a 1, isn't it? Now to get the next number, guess what I do with these two right here? Add them up. So that gives me what? A 3. And then I get my next number. I take this 2 and this 1, add those together, and I get a 3. And then what's on the end? A 1. See, this row 0's got 1 term. The first row has 2 terms, then 3 terms, then 4 terms. So it's going to be 5, 6, 7 terms like that. Make sense? So that's row 3. We'll go to about 5, maybe. So what's on the ends here? What's the first thing I'm going to put here, just off to the side? Put a 1 here, and then I take this 1 and 3 and add them together. You see the pattern? It's not hard pattern. And then you add these two together, you get
6.
and then you add these, you get 4, and then the last number is always a 1. It's kind of fun, isn't it? Say what? What do you say? Confusing? Come on, you can do this and watch. What's the first number? It's a 1, right? It's always a 1. It starts off with 1, it ends with 1. Okay, how do I get the next number? I look above it, and what do I do to those two? Add them up, right? So I get 5. How do I get the next one? I look above here. The next two numbers, I add those up. What does that become? It becomes a 10. You getting it now? Then the next one is a 10. The next one is a 5. And then the last one is a 1. Make sense? Okay. Let's do one more just for fun, okay? Just to kind of get the hang of this. And you say, what in the world are we doing with this? How are we going to use this stuff? Well, I'm glad you asked because we're going to show you. So this is going to be a 1. You should be able to do this pretty quick. What's the next number?
6.
6. Then
15.
15. Then
20.
Then
15.
Then and last one 1. There you go. It is. Yeah. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 3, 6. I don't know. How's that go? That goes by what? 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And that goes by what? 3, 6, 10. I don't know how that pattern. Anyway, I was just looking at it. I don't know if that has a pattern or not, but it is. It's look, you got 2, then you got 3, 3. Anyway, it is this side right here, and then you got the big number in the middle, and then the rest of this is kind of like this, isn't it? Right? It kind of goes the same way.
Add 3. Add
Yeah, and you
4,
could keep doing it.
add 5.
Oh, is that what it is?
For the third row down.
Oh.
Let's
this one?
see. Add
Yeah, that's all right. Let's figure out why in the world did I show you this thing. Okay, why can you use it? This actually does have a practical application to it. This is the 5th row, and this is the 6th row right there. Okay, we'll go up to that again. I'm going to show you something. Show you how we can use it. This is the type of thing we're going to do. They call this binomial expansion. Binomial expansion. So you'll see that on the quiz or a test or whatever. They'll say use binomial expansion to, I don't know, simplify or something like that. I forget exactly how they say it. Let me look in here, see what they say. Oh, it just says write out each binomial expansion, and I'll show you what we're going to do here. For instance, this will work with something like this. Like this. Now, you could just do this in your head. I mean, well, not in your head, but you'd write it out, right? You write x minus 2 times x minus 2, then you'd do distributive property, and then work it out.
Or you could do
Okay.
it in your head.
You might be able to do it in your head, yeah. Okay, with a squared, it's usually not too hard to do a squared in your head. But when you're doing a cubed, or to a fourth power, or to a fifth power, that really becomes a big pain. Third, maybe not so bad. Fourth's kind of a pain. Fifth is where it starts getting really ugly. And then especially if you went to the 6th power, to the 7th power. If you went something to the 15th power, it'd take you half the day to figure that out, doing it the normal way. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we use that Pascal's triangle in order to do this. So look at the exponent right here. So it's a 2, isn't it? So what do? We go to the second row. These numbers right here. So since we're going to the second power, we're going to use this second row right here. Now watch what it does. See, it's a 1, 2, 1, isn't it? Let's just write that down. 1, 2, 1. So if we're doing something to the second power, why do they call it binomial expansion? Because what's inside the parentheses? A binomial, 2 terms. Okay, so we only use this when we have a binomial inside of here, but it's being taken to a power. All right, so let's do this. These numbers right here represent coefficients. Tell you what, let's do this. Make this a little bit better. I'm not going to use an actual number. Sometimes that's a little confusing. I'm just going to start off with we'll go like x. I'll tell you what. We'll do it like this. Now, I want to use letters right now, and then I'll put numbers in there in a second. Let's just go A and B. We'll make it as basic as we possibly can. All right. These 3 things right here represent coefficients. Write that in your notes. So the 1, the 2, and the 1 are coefficients. And it means you're going to have 3 terms. Because when I multiply this thing out, I'm going to have 3 different terms. So there's my first term, there's my second term, there's my third term. Now watch what we do. It goes like this. It goes, that's our coefficient, so you put a 1. And then you look right here, and since this is being squared, you're going to go 1a squared. After a while, you'll see the pattern. On the first one, you might not see the pattern, okay? But a little bit later, you will. Okay, and then you put a plus, because that's a plus right there. Then you put a 2. And then what you do is you take the A and the B, and you multiply them together. Well, I'll show you the pattern in a second, okay? Just bear with me here just a second. And then plus 1, and then you take that last one, you put a B squared. Let me show you what's going to happen. You always start off with the first one. You take it to that power. So this actually went what? It went a squared, then it went a to the what? First, and then you don't see an a. So technically, it's actually a to the 0. So this a started off a to the second, then it went a to the first, then it went a to the 0. Look at the b. There's no b here, is there? So it actually started off b to the 0, and then it went b to the what? First, and then it went b to the second. So the first one starts at the highest power, works its way down. Okay, and then the second one starts at the lowest power and works its way up. And how do you know what numbers go out in front? These numbers from the Pascal triangle. All right, let's do another one. After you do 2 or 3 of these, then you'll start seeing the pattern. And, oops, that's the ugliest 3 ever. Then you'll start seeing the pattern. Look at this one. It's to the 3rd power. So what row do we go to in our Pascal's triangle? To the 3rd row. What are our numbers?
1, 3, 3, 1.
Okay, let's write that down. 1, 3, 3, 1. 1, 3, 3, 1. So let's use that in order to do this. Now, this time it doesn't start at a to the second. What does it start at? The coefficient is 1, then it starts a to the, what's our exponent? To the 3rd. Now, our b starts at b to the 0. But what's b to the 0? It's a 1, so it really doesn't show up. All right? Plus, we'll just stick with plus right now. What's the next coefficient? 3. Now, what does that a do? It starts at the top and it goes down. So what's the next a going to be? A squared. But now we got to take that b. Remember that b was b to the 0, but now it's got to work its way up. So what's this going to be? B to the 1st. You see that? You'll see it pretty good on this cubed one, and then especially on the 4th one, you'll really see it. Plus, what's my next coefficient? It's 3, right? Because we go 1, 3, 3, 1. So there's my 1, there's my 3, there's my other 3. What happens to that a? It starts off at a cubed, then it goes a squared. What does it go down to now? Well, not yet. A to the 1st, right? What does the b do? It starts off at b to the 0, but it climbs up. So b to the 0, b to the first, what's this one going to be? B to the second. Do you see the pattern? And then, what's my last coefficient? A 1. What did that a do? It went a cubed, a squared, a to the first, a to the 0. So there's really no a there, because a to the 0 is a 1. What did my b do? Went b to the 0, b to the first, b to the second. What's this going to be? B cubed. Let's do one more. You're going to chapel. You can be just a couple minutes. Watch this. Let's do this. What's to the fourth? 1, 4. Remember that. 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. Let's write that down. 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. That's my coefficients. Now watch, I'm going to do this really quick. It's 1a to the fourth plus 4. What does that a do? It goes down. What does the b do? It starts going up, right? And then put a 6. What does that a do? It goes down to a squared. What does the b do? It goes up. You see what the a is doing? A is going down, the b is going up. Plus, put the next coefficient, 4. A goes to a to the first, b goes up 1, goes b cubed. Plus a 1, what does the a do? Goes down to nothing, right? What does the b do? Goes up to fourth. Look at that. That is this thing, just as easy as that. All right? Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not going to give you a worksheet on this because I didn't do enough in a real example to give you a worksheet. I'll give you the worksheet tomorrow. I'll finish this up tomorrow, and then I'll let you work some in class tomorrow if we have time. Okay?